What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Triangle. It's your boy, D.
And it's your girl, CJ.
And it's somebody that feels like you shouldn't let people tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what to do.
What is it?
CJ style.
What?
Stop telling, exactly. Stop telling people what to do with their time during quarantine. I'm telling you, girl, those memes are so right when they're like, you should be doing this and learn a craft and a language.
I agree.
And because some people are trying to just be able to reconnect with their mate again, to learn their child in a way they don't know, to just chill.
I think that's something too. It's just
like leave them alone.
Being at home, and I don't know. Everybody's talking about how horrendous it is being around people. Like, I get it. Sometimes you just want your space, but it's really not that bad.
Well, I just feel like everybody should handle it how they want to, and maybe if you mind your own goddamn business, you wouldn't be so
I
concerned
agree with that. Like,
with how everybody else is handling
some
it.
people who are at home who always are running, working, or may have had 3 jobs and never got to spend time with their kids or something. This is the time to just, since everybody's in the same situation, go ahead and kick back. Like, watch some TV.
And even if you don't have a job, as messed up as that is, because I'm not down no jobs, but I'm down a job. But I'm I know that's messed up and what can come with that because I've been unemployed. But the money's not going to manifest by you not just chilling.
Right.
So just don't let anybody to tell you what to do as I told you what to do. And I'm Brandi.
Brandi, aka Tiny CJ.
Tiny CJ. CJ in the making.
Oh no. So we got lots to talk about. Nothing specific today in the way that we usually pick a topic, but
we're gonna give you a treat and talk about what we want.
We got some stuff. I want to start with
a nice little treat. You want a little taste? You want a little treat?
You want a little taste?
You want a little bit?
You want a little bit, huh?
Want a little bit, huh?
And we're off to being off task. Literally took 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Open your mouth. You want it?
Oh no, I just lost it. But what is it? The one that Brandi posted the other day with Dr. Umar Johnson. And
YouTube him if you're not familiar with him.
Yeah, so he is I don't know. I'm a little bit biased about him because of the way I feel about him, but he's basically very much pro-black, blackity black, not even just pro-black. Like, to me, he's an extremist because he takes.
What's his name again?
Umar Johnson. Okay. Dr. Umar Johnson. If you Google him, you've seen him because he talks kind of like a preacher, but not. Like, it's really,
I can see that.
Right?
I can see that.
And which is also another problem that I have, because I don't know if you guys remember when I talked about me going to these business meetings and business events. They talk like preachers because they're trying to convince you of something, right? To me, it's convincing you of something that you may not believe in. And that's okay to a certain extent, but when it becomes an extreme measure, like I have a problem, like the churches that are still open during the virus when everybody else is shut down.
Listen, I'm like Jesus ain't died for that. Y'all need to get it together.
No, he didn't. He really didn't. He didn't say go out and fucking do stupid shit on purpose. Like, that's not what he said.
So y'all quit testing God. Quit testing him.
Okay. Because he definitely need to lay you flat out if you keep testing.
Exactly. And right before Easter too, motherfuckers.
And you won't come back.
You ain't coming back. Ain't gonna be 3 days for your ass to come back.
Wow.
That's a permanent out. Oklahoma for you.
I mean, but he basically, I think on this video, he was talking about basically.
I'm gonna bring it up.
Oh, you bringing it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up so we can play it.
Because wasn't it something along the lines of if you are Black, and if you are, I guess, if you're not with another Black person, then you're doing yourself basically a disservice because they don't know your struggles and all of that, which I understand and agree with.
That was the whole, what's his name? It made the same, like a similar statement.
I don't disagree with it.
Muhammad Ali.
And, right. And I'm with that too. And even Malcolm X, I'm with it because, I'm going to go hard for the undeniably Black women because the struggle is real. However, delivery is also everything too. And I feel like, I don't know if it's still Netflix, but if you want to watch something that I feel like is really cool, Trigger Warning by Killer Mike is really good, and his interviews on the Breakfast Club. I don't know if he still raps and makes like albums or anything, but he be preaching in a way where it's like, He's not a preacher, trust me.
Mhm.
But I think the way he delivers a message is essentially the same thing as Dr. Umar, but I think people would be able to
I don't know. I'm going to disagree
digest it more.
because he isn't downplaying any group of people, because Dr. Umar goes ahead and talks about the LGBT community in the same way that he's saying things about white people as well. And to me, that doesn't put him at the same place as Killer Mike, because he doesn't do that. And when Killer Mike
don't take offense to what he's talking about, though.
But that's because you're fully black. That's perception.
I don't see it, and that's my whole point.
The point is that, like, Killer Mike, when he talks about it, he also includes white allies. That's one of his things. He talks about white allies,
and he is big on that.
Dr. Johnson never does that. He doesn't include. Right. But,
however,
but that's what I mean, and I'm not disagreeing with the part that he says that Caucasian people or Asian people or any other group of people will not understand Black struggle, because you don't. Like, it's just like when I talk about, yes, I'm mixed, I'm brown, but I'm never going to understand the same Black struggle that you and Demetrius has, because you guys are darker in complexion and have a different kind of Black struggle than I do. You know what I mean? In the same way that you wouldn't be able to understand being biracial, because you don't have the same struggles of being called a certain thing because you're biracial. It's like the biracial children we talked about earlier. Like, you're never going to get those types of comments on your screen because you're fully Black. In the same way, I will never understand the comments that you get as a full Black person. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's missing with Dr. Johnson.
Well, I feel like what's really missing about the whole conversation, and what people maybe don't want to admit, and feel free to disagree or
disagree.
Right. I disagree already. I volunteer as tribute.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I do feel like there needs to be levels of importance when it comes to certain subjects. Mm-hmm. Almost like when you're at a hospital and it's like, I do need to treat this person with the bullet wound to the head before I get to this person here. But we live in a society now where it seems to be more politically correct, and you're not allowed to say we feel like we should be up first, and y'all get y'all's when
but
you
see,
get
and that becomes a cultural thing.
That ends up that's where my problem is with it, and the only reason I can listen to him and not have a problem with him is the same reason, as messed up as it sounds, I was able to watch, and I didn't understand what he was saying, there were subtitles, but I used to watch speeches Hitler would give, and just leaders, period, no matter what.
Damn, Brandi.
Repeating. Listen.
No, history is a good place to start.
I'm
for real.
I know. Even with Trump,
you threw me off because I wasn't ready for it.
Everybody who heard that was like, Brandi, listen to Hitler.
Not on purpose. It wasn't on purpose. I'll tell you how that went. I watched a movie called Dead Snow, and I loved it. Watched Dead Snow 2. This is all about zombie Nazis, and then the internet just took me down a hole.
Oh yeah, so, it happens.
It happens. But I was like, wow, I could see why people would follow you, because you are charismatic. What you're saying does matter to the propaganda. I get it. I like the type of people that can listen to somebody no matter what they're talking about and still learn something from them. I may not agree with the president or Hitler or this person or that person or even Dr. Umar, but I'm like, okay, I understand where you're
I totally understand what he's saying. That's what I mean. Like, I understand what he's saying about, like, for me, example, I'm only half Black and half Okinawan, and Rob is white. There are certain situations that we've talked about and discussed that I was like, you won't understand, or he didn't understand, and I had to explain it to him. You know what I'm saying?
At least
like,
he listened.
It's at least he listens. No, he really does listen. I mean, if it wasn't for that, this wouldn't work out, because I couldn't have children with somebody who don't at least try to understand my struggles. Like that doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? And if you think about it, it's the same way with my mom and my dad. My mom had to listen to him and his struggles because he's considered Black, this is the weird part that gets me about being Black in America, is that if you are like my dad, was like my dad, who was Cajun, you're still labeled Black. It's like how we all thought that Drake's baby was gonna be Black because he was labeled.
Not me.
Well, I didn't, but everybody else did. That's why it went viral. You know what I'm saying? But my dad technically he's Cajun. So he was Cajun. So that means he was Black. He was French. He was Jewish French, and he was also indigenous. So he's not fully Black. And I I'm going to say it and I'm going to get hate for it, but most people who say that they're undeniably black are not undeniably black. It's the same. There's a mixture
exactly. Because
you know what I'm saying?
Especially with black
but
Americans.
But because of the way you
the
look.
majority of us.
That's what I mean when I say
right.
I'm saying undeniably black, yes, we all know we're all mixed with something.
History
but it's a matter
happens,
of,
right.
but the reality of it is nobody.
Right. But so then where, so
that, okay,
I guess.
Slave masters messed around with you and you and you and you. Nobody's thinking about that.
But that's the thing, though. That becomes an issue for people who don't dissect somebody like Dr. Johnson's speeches like we do, and they listen to it. And what if they are Black and Indigenous? And they go, well, what about the Indigenous people who were here already? What about their rights? What about them only being able to live on territories given to them by the government?
Because baby...
You know what I'm saying? Right. But so all of that is owed to them as well as African Americans. And that's another part. He keeps saying African Americans and he dresses in African garb. But most of the people who are Black here is not from Africa. They're indigenous to the land.
That sells the message more when I got on my shea butter and my
I'm sure.
People
no,
you get some people going.
I know that works because the comments that I get, here's a really easy one.
Another thing he does too, very smart too. Because somebody mentioned in the comment, every time he was saying what he was saying something like back to her, and although what he was saying back was not disrespectful, but he does come across to me sometimes where he's like, oh, I'm smarter than you. You're just fucking dumb. And that tone in saying like, oh, queen. And like always inserting
it's very
that queen.
patronizing. And I don't like that either.
I don't feel like you mean it when you said it to her.
Of course he doesn't. And that's why I'm saying he's very preacher-like to me, because I feel like he tries to convince instead of just laying out everything, because his is so extreme to me. Like, how do you dress in African garb but then talk about Blacks in America, but not embrace the American side of it or embrace the African side of it 100%. He's in between. He's limboing.
This is my issue when it comes to niggas trying to preach to me in African garb. You don't even know where the fuck your ass came from in Africa.
Boom, I do.
We are all hybrids. We are all hybrid mixes of different places in Africa.
I'm always trying to figure out how do people figure that out? But
DNA tests.
Yeah,
I mean, no, but even that, we
figure it out.
There's
a whole myriad. I don't know. The shit, it fucks me up.
Well,
I understand the idea of embracing a culture, embracing that your original culture, but at the same time, it's like, we're Americans. Whether we like it or not, we're fucking Americans.
That's
and I think a lot of Black people, a lot of Black
America.
people don't really grasp
associate that.
Does that make sense? They don't associate it. Because because I have a hard time doing it too. When I see a white truck with an American flag on the back, I kind of cringe a little bit.
Of course, because of what society made that mean.
That flag is not meant for me. You see what I'm saying?
Of course not.
So, but at the same time, I think as a people, we need to get together and start taking our country back for what it is. Not I'm saying country like taking our country back like race rap.
Yeah, dude, don't say it like that because somebody gonna be knocking at your door.
Letting the world know that, we belong here too. We built this country alongside of a lot of other people. Not taking it back, but just acknowledging that we are Americans too. Okay. That's what we need to do.
I mean,
I pulled it up just to taste a tidbit.
You gotta make it louder, girl.
I'm about to, Mom.
Oh, okay. Why you talk to your mom like that?
Y'all hear it?
It is the only minority issue that matters in this country. Now, let me ask you a question, my queen. Since we're talking about freedom of speech and people's rights and looking out for those who are being oppressed and denied their opportunity, where the hell was the LGBT movement when Michael Brown was murdered? Where the hell was y'all don't speak out against what goes on with Black folks. No, y'all don't.
In the Ferguson, I started an organization.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about that.
Guess what? The
three women that started Black Lives Matter, both Patrice and Alicia, are queer Black women. And they're making sure. About individuals. I am talking about three women. I am talking about three women that started this movement. Out against white supremacy. And the reason LBGT does not, I'm not talking about you as an individual, but the reason why the LBGT movement does not speak out against white supremacy is because they are part of it.
And here's the part that he's not wrong about, because the LGBT community do have their own racial issues within the community, and I've seen it. I have friends who have experienced it, and there is a sort of whitewash situation to it. And it's really weird. Like, I'm gonna say it. I don't care if I get hate, because this is a triangle, so I'm gonna say what I'm saying. A lot of queens who are Caucasian take caricatures of Black women and make it their own, and so it is true. That part of it is true, and I understand it. But the way he's spinning it, like the LGBT community has nothing to do with anything, is what kills me.
When you make a statement like that, and
it's blanketed.
Yes, and you're not in a forum to expand on it, because there's not a real respectful conversation happening from both sides, because you're both heated with each other. You're both about proving each other wrong. You can say what you just said, and without the claps and the people and the lights and everything, and then be like, okay, let's break down why you said what you said, why what you said is true. And then that's easier for most people to digest. Now, I can hear something like that and not take it and go overboard, but everybody is not able to do that. And that's when you kind of need that time to dissect, reflect. And it's not like there's not other interviews and stuff where he's out there not saying that, because he is, but just for the sake of like it being this type of forum where there's all those people, you have the time.
I mean, because like Charlamagne the God keeps having him on the Breakfast Club radio show, like podcast.
Oh yeah, because he loves them.
Yeah, because I understand where he's coming from and what he's saying, but what Dee was saying about being Black but being an American, and not understanding that part of that has to do with you, because people are ignoring it. And I'm not saying like Trump's America either. Like, I'm talking just being American.
We don't talk about that.
Our society.
The society.
The Black society. The Black society exists in America. You know what I'm saying?
People
at least in how we talk about it.
Because people don't respect that part of the citizenship anymore, because we've turned everything. I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, it's race, everything, but it is. And everybody has turned everything into race instead of citizenship and race combined.
Because they've never dealt with it. This country,
but here's the thing,
they don't deal with it.
The Japanese NBA player, Hachimura, right? He's Japanese, his citizenship. But because he looks Black, and he's over here in the NBA, he's getting a lot of play from Black folks, right? He doesn't really speak English that well either. And his Blackness is Haitian. It's not even American.
Well, we still claim him.
Do you see what I'm saying? But we claim him. You know why we claim him? Because he plays in the NBA. That's the problem that I have. And that's why it's so hard for me to understand why somebody like Dr. Johnson, who could, like you said, deliver things differently so that the masses will understand it better. So you do have a better society.
Especially if you want to create a movement or have a power structure like you want, you got to have the bodies. We have to have the people there. And of course you want them to be all with one accord. And it's like, not to say people got to like walk on eggshells of what they say, but also don't be surprised if
people are upset about
a lot of people. But some people, and I'm not putting him or anybody else in a box, but I just know people like this. Some people just get a rise out of getting a rise out of people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like saying something.
You know who does that the most,
get in their feelings.
Do you know who do that the most?
Oh, right now, y'all president.
Oh, you know what our president is, and Dr. Johnson has. And it's really funny that Dr. Johnson is a psychiatrist and he does shit like this. That is a peak level narcissist.
Oh, I totally believe that.
Peak level. That's why he sounds so condescending when
it's that condescending way, because I'm not denying your education on the matter, but it's like, bruh, but I've noticed that in some people, and this is not shade to anybody listening that got your masters on top of your masters or whatever, but some people, especially of color, baby, when they start getting them plaques on the wall, you can't tell them nothing. You a dumb bitch. Like, you can't tell them nothing. But here's the thing,
is it because culturally we got told that we have to work 25 times harder?
That part.
And so when we do it and accomplish it, we feel like we can just...
No, two things happen with that. Culturally, We're always told twice as hard as far as, the colors working. And then culturally, it's always the standard of you graduate and then you graduate. You need your degree, you need your degree, you need your degree. Like that's always been pushed in the school system. We've been told the whole time, if you don't have your degree, and a bachelor's ain't even good enough no more. Bachelor's might as well be an associate.
Might as well be
so now if you don't have your master's, like who are you? What are you?
That's even if you go into that field. But now we're turning tides again because of the entrepreneurial industry and sector.
But I'm gonna still go to school and finish school now. But
here's the problem.
One day, one of these days, Martin. One of these days.
The problem is though, in small businesses, Black people are not getting played because of the way our society built itself. That's the problem. Like I'm on so many like.
Now wait a minute. When you say our society built itself, are you talking about like the Nakers, or are you talking about in general?
In general.
Okay.
Because of the way it was built, it's obviously systematic. You know what I mean?
Man, for sure.
Right. And so because systematically we've been told that things are scarce for Black people. So when we open our own businesses and there's somebody else doing similar shit, you want to talk shit about them because you want to keep more customers, which in turn doesn't bring you customers because they see you talking shit about other people. And it's a vicious cycle that they allowed us to develop.
But I think what hurts more than that to me, and which is like a bigger deal than even the, scarcity not enough, because that's already like some Jim Crow genius shit.
It really is.
Implant.
Crabs in a barrel.
What you really did was you already was like, you're not quality. You're not a quality human being. What you put out is not quality. It's going to be lowbrow. It's aftermarket. It's not the good shit. And we drink that Kool-Aid, and not saying us, but we drink that Kool-Aid and believe it. And that's why it's hard for us to support another brand, because the first thing we be thinking about is it going to be quality? Are they going to be professional? And it's like, why are we thinking like that automatically? Now, we do know that there are plenty of Black people out there that don't handle stuff professionally. However, we mentally set ourselves on such a higher standard where we don't even give them the freedom or the one time to mess up like we would if they weren't Black. I was just going to say,
not even one mistake.
We don't give them the one time. They can't make no mistakes. The product got to be perfect. They got to be professional. If they late one time, that's a wrap. We going to dog them out. If something's not right with the shea butter they gave us, we finna dog them out. Or like, I knew I shouldn't have bought it here. I should have stuck with that. But we've been trained and do it almost on autopilot to give everybody else
it's just
our money and our time.
It's shitty to see it happening and unfold in front of my eyes. And like watching women talk like that to each other. I just finished reading a thread on Facebook that was about hair and one beautician going after another beautician for no reason. And I'm just like, you looked at her pictures. She didn't even comment on your thing, but you went in on her for no reason because you had nothing better to do, or you felt some type of way because it was actually really good and you wanted to dog her out on it. And like, it doesn't make sense to me. And you know what's the craziest part of all this is because the general society is built up like this and systematically put us all down. Black women in America have the most education right now, percentage wise, right? We have opened the most small businesses last 2 years, right? But I feel
like that's because you have to.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the 1 or 2% that make it to the big time. For example, that lady who did feminine products get dogged out because they're so not used to seeing Black faces on covers of anything.
Let's keep it all the way real. So not used to seeing it doesn't mean shit. You don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it.
There's a difference between not used to seeing it. There's some stuff I'm not used to seeing and I get excited. I was so excited for Crazy Rich Asians. Me and my mom.
Oh my God, I haven't seen it yet. I really need to watch it.
We were so hyped for the movie because I was like, oh my God, they look so elegant and the men fine and the women fine. I was just excited to see that representation. To see a mixture of you sound just like me and then there's your accent, and I love that from other cultures. Like I was excited for them.
That Korean movie that won the award, Parasite, and our president had their president had the audacity to be like, I can't believe they fucking won or whatever. But the producer came back. That's because
everybody wanted that. Everybody wanted that movie 1917 to win. Let me tell you something. I don't want to see. I don't have a desire, especially now that I educate myself more on our history. I don't have a desire to see a glamorized portrayal of how America was made and how we defeated these people in this war.
I'm so tired of it.
Not when y'all start the bullshit all the time. Not when you were the instigator.
Sweep in to like win everything, calm everything down, save every fucking body.
And I'm like, no, I'm not. I can't watch that. So, and then what's funny too, because all of my, especially my white male friends, love that movie. So they were always
of course they do.
Have you seen 1917? Have you seen 1917? No. Have you seen like Medea?
Get Out?
Yeah, right. Like, have you seen some of the movies that would have been more so, you know, pushed toward me? Did you watch Beauty Shop? Like,
you seen that Django Unchained? You seen that?
Right. Oh no, I had one friend already said it. They didn't like that. I said, what did you not like about it? Because he's a white male. So I'm being messy. Like, what bothered you?
That would be the same thing.
Why are you triggered?
What he say? What he say?
He was like, I just don't like how they can't be the enemy. They've been so used to being the hero. They can't really take the fact that your blood is laced in some
the same
bullshit.
Reason why Leonardo DiCaprio cried during the set, because Samuel L. Jackson was like, you need to like cut your shit. We get called niggas every fucking day. You can say it for the fucking acting part.
If you're not crying while you picking up these 18, 21 years old girls and you're like 50, don't be crying out saying nigga. I'm sorry, that's sexually predatorial to me.
Not
It is, because that Tiger King show really got me fucked up, because I'm like,
oh my God, don't tell me I want to watch it still.
This nigga was older, and everybody he picking up is 17, 18. I know, depending on the state you're in, or maybe the country, the age of consent can be different, but I'm like, I just don't feel like people need to be sexually exploded into like that when you're decades older than them. And you
it's
just
a little weird.
It's gross. It ain't
it
weird.
Is really
it depends on how much we're talking.
Listen, that couldn't be my daughter. My daughter couldn't come to me and you 22 or something talking about Leonardo DiCaprio's your man. That nigga's 60. What are you talking about?
It's just, you know, it's
I'm like, sorry, Mom. I'll send you some money when I get some money.
And some people are okay with that. And that's why R. Kelly had all access to all them kids, because some of their parents was okay
that
with
part.
Even that Kylie and Titus situation was so messy, because
that was weird.
I know he been messing with that girl since she was like 15 or 16. Because y'all finally came out when she was 18, but y'all been fucking. Y'all been doing.
I mean, they did that. Listen,
and he was like 25. Yeah, that was gross.
That, I mean,
the fact that her friends walked in on them, like on the bus or wherever, like
hell no.
So gross.
She was like 14.
So how do you look at a child like that?
Because do. Because they're fucked up.
Kids' hygiene ain't even up like that.
They wear the same 14. Socks 4 days in a row. I don't even know.
You know what I'm saying? When I was 14, my hygiene wasn't exactly where it should have been.
You just smell your sock and see if it's good enough.
Where it shouldn't have been. Oh, D, I wanted you to answer this, because this was the, I don't think I can pull it up fast enough, but the main thing people were asking me in my inbox on the comment section after I posted it, was about the ending, and I'll let you talk on it, D, because you enjoy Dick Like Us, so you get to talk.
Not Dick Like Us. Look at his face.
Everybody likes Dick, raise your hand.
No, it was just an intense little thing. Are you playing it?
I'm playing the end.
Oh, okay.
And because I want to hear what D has to say.
Okay.
Lots of nature talking.
Okay, yeah.
It's hard because everybody's clapping and yelling.
He's about to win.
Oh my
Black
goodness.
people, am I right?
Not black people, am I right?
It's a movement for the right to practice a certain behavior. The struggle for black folk is a struggle to be treated like a human being.
So, people was going in on the comments.
They really were.
In my inbox, because somebody was like, I was going to comment something else, but people just get into their feelings. He wasn't going to say anything like disrespectful, but he just didn't even want to potentially engage somebody in something.
Yeah.
Because it's a sensitive
hey, pull your mic up.
topic. Oh,
sorry.
It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people. So I want to know what somebody who's actually gay thought.
In regards to his statement, to me, especially when it comes to my own community, that's customary. So to me, it's like, I've been hearing that shit my whole fucking life, which is why I took the route that I took, and it took me so long to get to where I am now, is because of that. And it's just it's a part of who I am. I don't know what it would have been like if I was 14 and like, fuck it, I'm just coming out. I don't know what that life would have been like, because I never experienced that life. All I know is me being black within my community, the churched up fucking community that I grew up in, I had to go this route.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention my family is just super, super religious. The people around me were very religious. It wasn't okay. So I thought, maybe I just not praying hard enough. Maybe I'm just a bad person. You know what I'm saying? It was like really trying to figure this shit out for so long to where I just stopped giving a fuck. I'm tired. So I'm just like, fuck it. It is what it is. And if you don't like me, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And statements like that, it doesn't bother me anymore the way it used to. It used to make me cringe. When I was like 13, like, fuck, oh my God, I'm going to go to hell, I'm about to bust hell wide open type shit. It's like, you just get used to it after a while. And it literally does not bother me at all. And at the same time, based on the doctrine that they're given and how they were taught, I can't really hold it against anybody. It's like, this is what you were taught, and this is your truth. So I'm going to do myself a service and you as well, and just stay away from people like that.
Do you guys know if Dr. Johnson is Christian?
I'm sure.
Because I feel like he is.
If he's not that, he's definitely...
that's gonna I don't feel like he is. I feel like he's a person that just does what he wants to do. I would be very surprised if he was like,
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Or if
when
he
it
claimed
comes
Christianity.
To him talking about, it's because you want to take part in the act. It's kind of outside of my control.
Well, what he's saying is about that part. He's saying is for the people who want to be pedo or people who want to do things like that without being reprimanded is what he's saying.
And the fact that can even be a parallel is fucked up.
That's the part that I have a problem with.
That's why I have a problem
with. That's the problem I have a problem with.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's fucking crazy. And I had to deal with that shit too. You know, just dealing with people and then trying to make assumptions. I'm like, nah.
And then that really, what that really does come down to me too, because she did, they were going back and forth on that stuff for a minute, because it was some, I ain't finna play all that, but it was like some he said, she said stuff. He was like, no, this is what I really said, but then they can't play the interview right there. I was like, I don't care about all that stuff. But I think for a lot of people, what it comes down to is what you believe. If we're just staying on this topic, whether you believe somebody being gay is a choice or not, it still comes down to that's that person's choice to live their life the way they want to live, if that makes sense. And it's not your job to tell them how to live their life. And then the other side of that coin is, even if because I can be triggered by a lot, but I don't have to express that to a group or a person in a way to make them feel bad. Like even if I'm like, hey, you're choosing to be gay, I didn't choose to be black, they're different struggles, you can't say they're on the same lane. I don't need to attack that person for that. And people were going back and forth. It's the attack of it that I don't like, because I feel like instead of hearing somebody, people want to now make you feel wrong and then get you on their side. And it's like, I'm not to be convinced. If I said what I said, that's what I meant. And it's not to slight you. It's how I feel when I'm thinking, and you can feel how you will feel and think how you think, and we can keep it moving.
And we can keep it pushing.
I don't need to convince you to be on my side of thinking. And I feel like that's what a lot was going on with those two and that whole environment. And then if you got the crowd behind you clapping and you know, doing all that to add to the extra bullshit. When I think had it not been a public forum, it would have been a totally different conversation, especially since she seemed knowledgeable in everything that she was representing. It probably could have been a totally different conversation had that been had in private with respect for both ends, because she clearly already had an issue with him, because it was set up action upon when she had the mic, because the friend didn't give her the mic. I mean, like, her friend said she had a question to ask, she didn't, she gave the mic to her to ask. So it was already like a ambush kind of thing, and it's like, y'all shouldn't even have to do all that petty shit. To have a private conversation.
So my thing is too, when it comes to that whole question shit, like, or it's the whole choice shit. When it comes to that is, especially when it comes to our society, not community, but society.
Yes, to the hair.
Our society. That has always been very weird to me, because I never understood why somebody would make the choice to be harassed or murdered, or because that's what comes along with this lifestyle sometimes, unfortunately, especially
for the
in
people in the back.
You know what I'm saying? You will be harassed. You will get your ass beat from time to time. It comes with the territory. I wouldn't make the choice to do that. If it was up to me, it would be the other way around, because it seems like life would be much easier. Not to take anything away from LGBT community, but life would be a lot easier, a lot more peachy if I can make the choice. No one say now, but if you would have asked me this when I was 21, you can have all of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I never asked for this shit in the first place. So how dare somebody say, oh, because this is what you chose to do? Fuck you. Nobody
it's
choose
so
to
crazy
do
to me. Like, and obviously a lot of people who feel that way don't have somebody close enough in their lives to understand it. And I think
and if
that's what
they
it
do,
is.
they don't want to hear them out. That's
that too.
the part that
That
I'm
part.
fucked up about.
That part. You
they
know
don't
what I
want
mean?
to listen. I cannot agree and still listen to where you coming from, still hug you up. Let's go out for ice cream later, whatever.
If
but
you're not listening.
You're not even wanting, because I'm about, at the end of the day, I'm about saving a life in the sense of I don't want someone to take their life or take someone else because of anything that you're being bullied for, especially if it's not something illegal. If it's not illegal and you're not hurting somebody else, you don't deserve to be harassed consistently.
Right.
And
Like,
I can't get with that. I don't like when anybody's going through that. That really, really bothers me, no matter who's on a soapbox about what they believe in.
It's so crazy.
Even for the people, the flip side of it, I haven't experienced it directly, but and I hate this term, but I'm using it just because it's funny, but the street shaming that happens, because if you're not down with LGBTQ,
and
people will come at you crazy. Like, how come you are, or what do you mean you don't want your son to be gay? If I say I don't want my son to be gay and I want him to marry somebody,
you know what it is?
I can say that. Why are you upset? I didn't say I wasn't going to love him.
It's the extremeness of it all. I don't know if I talked to you guys about it or if I talked about it on the podcast, but my friend who works in a restaurant whose staff is predominantly either non-binary, bisexual. It's all LGBTQ people in there mostly. And so most of the people in there go by they, them, right? She's straight. My friend is straight. They started calling her they, them and then she was like, but I identify as she and her. Like, you can't do this to me when you don't want me to do it to you. And that's what I mean. Like, in every community, the extremeness of it all is what I can't understand. And that's why I'm saying, like, Dr. Johnson is so extreme in his ways and the way he speaks on things. I can't handle it. The people who work at that diner, I could not be friends with them, even though I'm an ally to LGBTQ community. Like, I am, but I'm not going to sit here and let somebody call me they, them when I identify as her and she. Like, I will do my best to identify whatever pronoun that you want to be called by. I will try my best. I might forget. You might have to hit me.
Right.
But I'm gonna try to remember.
And I had a friend that was, he now. I'm doing it right now.
That's what I'm saying. But
transition, but I'm just trying to be respectful. Even if it's not my bag, even if I believe something different is going on, I'm trying to respect what your new lifestyle and how you want to move is. That's all I'm trying to do, is understand, be understood, and be respectful. And that just goes out the window when somebody feels like they're so right, and not even being so right where they're like telling you to go to hell. There are people that don't even throw religion into it, and they just want to be right, and they just want you to say that, they want you to say that they're right.
That's
and they
literally
just keep,
Dr. Johnson, though,
like, driving it into the ground, and it's not that serious, like, at all. But again, like I said, I chew that, because we went back and forth in my comments, DJ. I chew the meat and spit out the bones. I cannot agree with somebody's philosophy, delivery, and all that stuff, and still be like, but this part I agree on. I won't cancel them as a whole. I won't be like, oh, I don't do
cancel culture either. I think it's stupid.
I'm just like, hey, I get where he's coming from. I reposted it because I definitely feel that just from on the black tip, but I was not expecting everybody else to like.
Oh, that was like a definite article.
I wasn't expecting that. I was like,
because it had all the elements: blackness, LGBTQ, female, male, all of it. Like,
the reason I said I wasn't expecting it, because you got to understand too, although we had like a healthy amount of comments on that post, I'm used to having more comments just because I post a selfie. I post a selfie, 300, likes and whatever comments.
Right, because the people who follow you,
I post some real shit article, and those barely get the same hits. But
I say that all the time on my page, my posts too.
They don't get the same amount of hits, so I wasn't expecting
the memes that I post or funny jokes that I post get all kinds of love from all aspects and all people. But when I get serious about anything, or even Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, any of that, then girl, it ain't hitting the same. Anyway, that was our ringer for mid-break, so we'll be right back.
Mid-break.
And we're back, bitches. What's going on?
Hey. So speaking of blackness, we're gonna jump into what Dee was saying earlier before the show. all these non-black people feeling the blackness because of quarantine.
Oh shit!
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
And explain what you meant by that.
Okay, so this really fucked me up. I saw someone's post. Someone made a post. It was a white gentleman, and he's a vlogger, and he was vlogging, and he was stating that he was running essential errands, as what the only time you should be out of your house right now, so do some essential ass shit. And he was doing that. He was in the parking lot of a grocery store, and in the process, he was vlogging. And he said a cop car rolled by him, and the cop kind of slowed down and gave him a nasty look, but then kind of kept going. So he was like, why is the cop looking at me like that? He went on this whole rant of how he felt uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, well, that happens to me like a few times a month. I was like, welcome to being black. Like that's, to me, that's customary to me. It's normal to me for people for me to feel like people are looking at me like that.
The fact
whether that's the case or not, maybe my zipper's undone. I don't know. You'll never know. But 9 times out of 10, it's
because you're black.
Right.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I thought about it. That's what I was missing on my list today to talk about, because I've seen a few articles and posts about that similar situation. And one of them was even talking about, how the stores are shut down and everything. So it's like you have to like stay within your block now and not go out of your block for safety and shit like that. I mean, we're used to doing that though. You know what neighborhood not to go to.
Right.
Shit like that.
The codes and shit.
Like,
But that's different when you're raised to survive versus being raised where everything is for you.
To conquer.
A lot of us are, okay. Raised to survive and raised to conquer, 2 totally different things. So when someone does say, oh, stop, halt, you ain't supposed to, not only are you just aghast, like, what? What do you mean? My pearls, clutching all the pearls. Like, why are you telling me what to do? Me? And then your feelings are going to be hurt.
And I feel like that's part of the reason why I'm going to say it, go ahead and say it. I feel like there's a lot more Caucasian people out and about not listening to the governor's warnings and heeding it and sheltering in place. Because when I go to the store to go get essentials, because I only really have shopped maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks since this went into place. Right, because that's about how long your groceries last for the most part. I
like how you give us a fact about something and then you say right.
Right.
Like you know how many times I've been shopping, right?
Right.
No.
You know this, right?
No.
But no, if I do run out of milk and eggs, and that's about the only thing that I'm gonna go get, plus a few essentials on top of it. But I will say that there's a lot less POC people out in crowds than there are Caucasity. And I feel like them being told what to do is not something, like you said, that they're used to, and they feel like their liberty and freedom has been taken away by these people who are in government officials. And I'm just like, oh, everyday life for the rest of us. Like,
and then even in that moment, I have to watch it, because that even ties into what we were talking about earlier, because even in that moment, it is so hard for me. And it's not that it's not there. It's just hard for me to feel sorry for someone who's feeling what we feel, or they're like, this struggle is unfair. And I'm like, really?
No.
Tell me more about it, because I can't relate. And it's like, no, I can relate. And even people not even being able to empathize.
You don't know what this is?
That violence,
world's smallest violin.
I'm telling you, baby. I had a friend do it online, and he was just like, like we're middle-aged white guys are made to be the enemy, and I just don't like seeing all this stuff online. And I was like, well, it's a good thing you can like block and unfollow what you don't want to see. I can't block and unfollow like the stuff that I don't want to see out in the real world. But even the privilege of just complaining about it and just being like, this is insane. I've had enough. I'm like, same. There's a whole group of people that have also
every day.
But
I was telling my mom, but one day, I guess I was having too much fun in my car driving home one day because my music was bumping and whatever, and I rolled by a cop, and he definitely did a Yui, and I don't know why, but if you guys are like me or not, if you see a cop car, you always check the back mirror to see if they do a Yui. And this one did.
Turn the music down. That's what I do. But.
Sure did. And I was literally going home. So I was like 2 streets away from my house. And they slowed down, though, because they were like trying to check for me, I guess. And then I got to my stop sign by my house. They were still way behind me, but I could see them. like slow rolling, right? And I parked in front of my driveway. They stopped at the stop sign by my house and watched me go into the house, and then they left. Like shit like that don't happen to white people. I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't, because I've never heard any of my fucking Caucasian friends talk about shit like that.
And then for you Caucasian people that are listening, still listening,
if we haven't turned us off yet.
If we ain't lost it yet, because we love you. I don't want nobody being like, oh, they hate whites. No, if you say that, then that means we hate you.
Right. No, we love white people. I'm marrying them here soon.
But I've had some people before that I've had to go off on because they tried to downplay what we do experience because we're all living relatively decent lives.
Oh, I'm like, God, I hate that shit.
I'm like, don't get into it because they're like, oh, what struggle or blah, 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 because we're in the same neighborhood or we're this. Don't get it twisted because we live in the same neighborhood. Our kids go to the same school. Or it's not, see, in their head, none of us should be upset and be complaining about shit because it's not 1960 and it's not 18 whatever. In their heads, that's what a lot of them think. And that's why they easily put us in the group of, oh, you're being a victim because
let me tell you,
it ain't like that. Girl, I'd eat their asses up.
I'm laughing right now because that just reminded me of a story that was an ex-Facebook friend now, because I couldn't handle it anymore. I had posted something about Black struggle, and then in the comments, we went back and forth for a while, but he just wasn't getting it because what he said was, well, I'm the only white person at my job and all the Mexican people call me gringo, so I understand where you're coming from. And I just was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? So, and then I was logical about it, and I took it and I was like, let's talk about it because you're here to like talk it out. I said, yes, but you can remove yourself from work and go home to your white neighborhood with your white family and do white things all day long. And the only time somebody calls you a name is at work, then you got it made.
Listen.
Because baby, it was at work, it was going through neighborhoods, it was going to the store, it was getting my hair done, and I'm not even
wait a minute, was it getting your hair done or did
bitches did.
You forgot where you were.
That was my Asian side.
Here's something interesting. I did have a conversation with one of my white colleagues a few years ago, and he acknowledged the bullshit. He told, because he ended up moving to, I don't know if he was in limbo or what was happening, but he had to get an apartment on the east side. Now, mind you, if east side of Las Vegas is predominantly, there are some white people, but I'd say mostly Black and Mexican on that side of town. Or Black and Hispanic, not necessarily just Mexican, but Black and Hispanic. And he got some police harassment activity a few times.
Does
and he was like what?
No,
but the issue is the white people that do live in that area
are
part of that element. They look at you as the same, especially when it comes to Las Vegas. That's if you're in that area, you do.
If you're in the hood, yeah.
So he was like, "What?" And he's going off and acting crazy, and I'm like, "Okay, don't do that again."
Right.
Because Las Vegas Metro Police, they shoot white people. They're not afraid. So it's like they shoot white people in here. They shot a white man at Costco in Summerlin. That's affluent. They're not afraid of shooting white people out here. So I'm like, when you're on the east side, you need to shut the fuck up and put your hands on the steering wheel.
But that's the thing. That's what Brandi was talking about, is that survival instinct is inbred within us, and white folks get offended when they get stopped.
That shit literally had to be like genetically and spiritually passed down for us to do what we have to do.
Of course.
Whether it's manipulate how we look, how we talk. Like there was a comedian that said, white people can be white all the time. Black people can't be black all the time.
We can't be black.
And before he even got to the examples of that, I was already dying in my car listening because I'm like, I knew what you meant because we are raised to survive.
Do y'all talk like this? The way we talk on the podcast at work? Absolutely not.
Definitely not the same way. I can't say this shit. Nah.
No. And I'm not even talking about the curse words. I'm talking about the intonation that we use within our own society.
I literally turn it on and off depending on who passes my
Of course. And you do. I saw a BuzzFeed video of like the black girl check or the black coworker.
Oh my God, the co-checking. And it was what she looked like. She looked like she was like
Afro-Latina.
Yeah, she was so pretty. And she burst out that Spanish and then she went out.
That video always reminds me of G.
Oh, she was like, hey, Black Queen.
And then she went by and she was like, hey.
Yeah, she got to her white coworker and she was like, how was your weekend? It was like, it was great. I did some yoga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we code switch so much, but
it's such a great analogy, Dee.
White people don't code switch. And the only time they do is when they're surrounded by a lot of dark people and they feel like they should say.
We can't even.
Well, and then it gets awkward.
No, because it's not code switching. That's why it gets awkward.
It's them trying to fit in.
No. And I'm like, so your way of fitting in, instead of just being you, is
trying to talk
what
like
you
us.
Think is.
But isn't that why there's so much Kardashianism and bad baby isms and all these people who are not black trying to be black?
That's twofold, because I almost look at it as a child doing something, right? And then I'm just like, okay, well, if a child's acting in a way that people don't like, I'm like, they're getting something out of it. So it's like, why are you doing this? You're getting a reaction or something you want out of it. So for these women, because I see more women doing it than men, I don't see a lot of white men trying to be black or whatever else, but I see a lot of women
I hear it
doing
in conversations.
But changing their appearance and conversation, trying to morph into. That's different with women.
No, and do it. There's a group of M&Ms walking around somewhere.
Look, I hear you, but again, look, I'm gonna
riff
be like,
raff.
look, CJ,
you know what?
CJ,
I know what you're saying though, because black women are considered exotic and wanted, but not wanted to stay with.
No, and I'm talking about
like home to mom.
Not some individuals, just as a whole. It seems like a lot of them do that, especially if they decide that they're going to get with somebody black. Now, I don't think if I got with somebody who wasn't black that I need to change some things. I've literally seen some people who aren't black seem to get quote unquote blacker because now they're with DeMarcus. And I'm like, I don't understand. Or they do it. No, or they do it. I do. DeMarcus, Devontae. There's some that I go to from a black. I like some. There's some I go to from a black names, but like people like the Kardashians who perfectly float in between the worlds of I can be white enough to be on Ellen, but then I can also stay with black men.
Because aren't they Lebanese?
You're getting what are they?
No,
it's something over there, but I didn't think it was
Armenian.
Armenian.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks.
Which I've never heard them claim harder than when they had the show popping. Because I'm like,
Yep. But that's the thing though. Like I don't. It's
the other side of that was these colored men, they fetishize you and they want you and they want their babies to look like this perfect mix of y'all. So you would not be doing what you do to draw that in, literally molding your body in what our ancestors naturally came with so you can get them. And they're so brainwashed, all they see are the women that look like you. It'd be different if you dated everybody that was shaped up like that.
Right.
Or everybody with that features. But when you just hone it in to that one section and all these bitches look alike, and then what they did was genius too. It's true. They all look alike. Even when you take rappers, girlfriends or wives or athletes or whatever, all of these bitches look
and
alike.
until you get a baby like Drake's baby, and then you realize that DNA don't work that way.
That DNA does not work that way at all.
I'm sorry.
Even in marketing, I've noticed when I'm doing my online shopping, the models that they use look like baby Kardashian models. And I'm like, the women in these clothes. Boohoo is the girl.
Yeah, I know where you were going.
First of all, I love Boohoo. And I didn't want to call y'all out like that because y'all need the girl to market
but
for
let's talk about how all of them are tiny Kim K's. Like
all of them are mini. At this point, they're all mini Kylies. Because Kylie has so I'm like, their lips.
Let's talk about that fucking transition Kylie made. Whoever her doctor is, this motherfucker deserves a fucking Nobel Peace Prize.
A Pulitzer
Prize. Because he fixed her ass.
He wants all the prizes.
You know what I always worry about though is like they make all these changes surgically to their body, and so when they have children, the DNA didn't change.
No,
you're going to still get a tiny Kylie in the end. Like the original Kylie. But so you're going to keep having people go to doctors to do this.
I wouldn't doubt it because some people were saying, because they'll be in the comments going in on them and they'll be like, oh, I'm worried about their kids and stuff. And I said, just for the sake of conversation, it wasn't like I stayed up at night. For the sake of conversation, I said, I used to be concerned about stuff like that. But then I'm thinking, if that's all I know growing up, and this is what I'm used to seeing, and my mom lets me take selfies of her half naked, this is not going to be jarring for me. You know what I mean? It's going to be my lifestyle. I'm going to be 15, 16, like my mom was 15 and 16 and getting my lips done and getting this ass plumped up or going with whatever is popular at that time. Because by the time those kids are their parents' ages, it'll be a completely different body type because they used to be blonde hair and big boobs. Right. And it ain't that no more.
No,
So you can't look like Pam Anderson or Jenna Jameson no more and be the hot girl. That ain't it.
Man, I forgot about Pam Anderson and Jenna Jameson.
I didn't. Look, aging us all. Those were the blonde staples.
Oh my God.
Every Playboy bunny and everybody like in porn was looking like
everybody. Them. Everybody was a Jenna Jameson. Everybody. Like
that was
so
the
crazy.
move. And then now it's weird to even look at them now because now they're being made into memes for not having an ass.
Mm-hmm.
When that was fine before.
Flat ass was fine.
Because in the 90s, like Kate Moss and everybody who was gracing the pages was like, just stick thin.
And heroin chic.
Heroin chic. Yep, that's what it was. And everybody was okay with it. And it was absolutely insane. And now you have to have curves to be relevant. And now, like, people are getting injections in Mexico and dying from it because they can't afford to do what they think they should look like over here.
Which is still crazy because when it comes down to the elite, they still want them skinny girls because when you're looking at high fashion modeling, that's still a very closed off group. They're still not wanting them.
The middle is where you keep people entertained and disenfranchised, and also like you get to use that as the veil. Of the cover of all the things that's happening up here, because the people down here are looking in the middle right now, right? And everything past that ain't being seen. It's
because that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, where are the curvier girls or the darker girls or whatever when it's Milan Fashion Week?
There isn't any. There isn't any. Full Figure Fashion Week is happening because they had to make a different fashion week.
They shouldn't even have to fucking do that. And then people complaining about it. I'm just like, this is why people even had to have like the NAACP. This is why we had to have our HBCUs. And you complain about like there's no white entertainment channel. All the channels are y'all channels.
They're all white entertainment channels. Like when I had to explain HBCUs to somebody one day, they were like, well, why do these colleges not take any white people? No, they take white people. It's just exclusively originally was made for Black folks because y'all wouldn't take us. Because y'all
but they don't want to. But they don't hear her though. They don't hear her.
You don't hear me though. You don't hear me though.
We had to make our own colleges because we were not permitted to attend regular colleges.
Just D saying that alone. It's funny and it's hurtful at the same time. We had to make our own college.
We did.
We had to make our own colleges.
We couldn't read books alongside y'all.
Right.
And swim in the same pools and whatever. It's just so dumb.
There's an episode that Mr. Rogers did back in the day where he invited his Black mailman to dip his toes into the kiddie pool that they had on a hot summer day. And they got so much backlash for it back in the day. Because he, literally, the water...
Did people think the Blackness was going to come on to them?
Yeah. What the fuck? You have to read some of the propaganda that went out.
Listen,
because it's even the caricatures and how they drew us, or that movie. No, for real, it was
literally like this.
What? Look.
Yeah, or like how they were acting when they were in blackface because we were savages, so you didn't want to be close to us.
My God,
we were going to be violent. The narrative with the Black men was he was going to rape these Black women. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm like, I wonder how many white women had their way with all of those slave men. But
say it again.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And then, have you guys seen the advertise? Well, I guess it's a training video for people in sales back in the day. It's in color too. You know what I'm talking about? If you are selling to a Negro, that one.
Yes,
I gotta look it up.
You have to watch. You haven't seen it, Brandi. I'm about to find it and send it to you. They basically go around. They're like, you're selling to a Negro. Make sure that you they give you steps as if a Black person is completely a different kind of species in humanity. Like, it's so insane.
Hippie as fuck.
And it's not even from that long ago. I'm literally thinking it's from the 70s because it was definitely in color. It wasn't enhanced. It was color.
Well, you said how to sell to a
Negro. I'm sure that will pull it up. And it's a real video that they used to show.
Like a training video before you start a job.
Yep.
Like, you want to work at Macy's, you got to watch this video during your orientation type shit.
Oh my God, can you imagine being Black?
It's 67 seconds.
That must be the short version, but
in every sales transaction.
That.
To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name.
Are they lying though?
No, shut up, because they not.
You wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise.
So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand. That's the first important Negro buying habit.
Bitch.
Now for the second. Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer.
Ain't nothing changed,
This
y'all.
woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
Look at Brandi's face.
Isn't it beautiful? I can hardly
Y'all gonna have to
listen. There's a long
y'all gonna have
video.
to watch
Listen,
it. No, this
okay.
song is it's 21. Well, they fast forwarded, I guess, to this part. The whole video is like 21 minutes and 22
Yeah, it's a
seconds.
training video. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's a training
just
video.
even that first portion, step 1, Negroes buy by brand. What are we doing right now?
Man, listen,
Y'all dressed from
they
head to
love-
toe, dripping in Nike, dripping in Adidas, dripping
love
in
a good
whatever,
brand.
Gucci. It's
They
the
love to
same
show it.
shit.
That shit.
And let
had
me tell you
fucked
how
up.
I could, because I've been in customer service and in retail so long. I still remember that one of my jobs, you know, the NARS makeup line. I know Brandi knows.
I do. I love it.
NARS makeup, and it's pretty expensive. It's not like your like store bought at Walmart or
Wet.
CVS. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, you keep that.
So NARS is a brand that's considered prestige, and you have to pay for, their lipsticks are like $15, $25, right?
They definitely, I think they went up, girl.
Maybe even higher. But here's the thing. The company that I work for had the formula from NARS from the same place that shipped it for NARS, and we sold ours for $9. And this is what people don't understand, is where unless they have a house designer like Gucci and their prestige elite brands, most of these motherfuckers have the same fucking vendors that make the same shit, just puts a different brand name on it. That's it. That Champion shirt that you are buying right now, because Champion's back in Macy's.
Champion was Macy's. Champion was in freaking BX, and I remember having like
that's so many
windbreakers and all type of stuff.
Shit.
T-shirts. I loved it. Plenty of t-shirts.
Listen,
like we would be in the gym with this shit on.
Right.
Yeah.
This was gym clothes. It was like a t-shirt you would buy from Walmart.
And then for a hot second, Fila had his little comeback. I'm like,
a little bit.
This is normal stuff. And then I looked just to look, because Champion had a Powerpuff Girl line, and I thought that was gonna be real cute. What I'm not going to do is pay y'all $89 to wear the goddamn Powerpuff Girls on something that I had on in 7th grade.
Listen,
y'all got me messed up.
My friend posted a video talking about we were gonna go to the thrift store to find some Champion shit, and the kids got mad, but they found so much stuff because we already ran through it already, and it's in the thrift stores. If you really want to make money, that's a way to do it. Goodwill, passive income.
Especially if you're gonna go to a neighborhood that's not yours just to get something different, or a nicer quote unquote neighborhood. All type of nice stuff is Goodwill.
Oh yeah, but no. So seriously, with that video that Brandi just played,
that's crazy.
If you watch the whole thing later when you have some time, and
I'm gonna have to. If
you missed it, if you look up how to sell to a Negro, you'll come across this video. It's got to be from the 70s.
I love that guy's voice too, because this is in all seriousness.
No, it's a training video that somebody had made for this fucking company, and it's a real deal.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And the fact that the same sales tactic is still being used in our community right now,
man. And we're not even. They don't even have to sell it. We just do it. They just make it available.
But okay, so it's systematically put in place, like you just saw, and that's the problem. Everybody there's those memes where they're like, ooh, Bill Gates has a $30 shirt on, and these wannabe rappers are wearing $400 belts that they can't afford.
Man, and all these diamonds on the outside.
It's all systematic, and that's why
I'm like, I never saw Bezos with a damn chain on.
Zuckerberg.
Some of the highest high rollers that I see come through my hotel,
they just in regular clothes, right?
You would never know. You would never think that about them. You would never think. You think it's just a regular dude.
And if you don't know, D is out in Vegas, so he's talking about some real hotels.
I'm talking about some real
high rollers.
I will say the hotels, because Vegas is the party capital of the world. Yeah. I'm gonna give you that. You are at the hotels.
Yeah, and the one I work at is pretty high end. I work at a pretty high end hotel.
Right.
Because he's a because the high-end Negro likes to work at
high-end Negro. So they were talking about me in that video. No, but
D was like, I need a new hat.
I work at I'd say one of the top 5 properties on the Las Vegas Strip. And yeah, coming through there, I see people worth millions. Yeah. Maybe some billions. And you would never know. And there's, you know what I mean? Just can't judge a book by its cover.
And it's just like, it's like what Brandi was saying earlier too, with people who are like more prone to do things like that. It's in the scarcity and like Black businesses not supporting each other. It's because we want to make sure that quality is there. You heard them. Because we were given so much bad quality shit.
That was a
that video blew my fucking mind. I think I seen it like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was like, "Wow, we still up here doing the same shit."
And then it's all to be like accepted and seen on the same level as, because they don't have to do that. Me and my mom, we always like joke when we shop at like Stein Mart, little places like that, because they just have great stuff. We always love when people would give us compliments on things that you could not tell what the brand was.
Same. Love
because
it. Yes.
I don't like to wear just a big label. I don't like the bags that have the label all on it. I don't like it. Even when I showed you the bag that my mom got me, the Gator bag. That I put in a bag in my room. Put the bag in a bag, because you know when you get a real bag, they come in bags. Y'all don't hear me. But y'all don't hear me now. But I put that at the top of my closet because I was like, oh my God, it's the nicest bag I've ever had. But my mom's always been that type of person, even with my sister, where they just don't wear these labels. They wear what they like to wear. It's still quality because you don't have to prove yourself with your clothes in that way. But I get why there was an era where people are coming in like, I have money, I have something to contribute. Look, because it's going off of how you look immediately.
Like, you know that scene from Pretty Women where she's like got the money, but she don't look like she got the money, so people were like turning her down.
Or even Selena that's been shopping and they played her. I love that
they
scene.
did.
My favorite part. Thank you. We don't need the dress. And she's signing autographs, and I'm like, yes. I love it.
And it's just amazing. It's that right there is that we're still out here trying to prove ourselves to people.
Because I ain't gonna lie, I go in and out of it depending on how bothered I want to be. Because if I know I go like this to even like get makeup or something else, depending on how I'm dressed,
Isn't it
I
weird
may or
how
may
they
not
treat us
get
differently?
Certain service. Like they'll come up to me like this and be like, so what do you need? Or are you looking for that? Or are you familiar with this? I'm like, bitch, I just made myself a penguin. Of course I'm familiar with this. Like, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. And you're playing me because of how I look. But when I come in there and the face beat and I have heels on, because I've noticed that as a woman,
for sure.
Everyone treats me different when I have heels on.
It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
If I have to stop somewhere, okay, I'm gonna tell you like this. When I gotta stop somewhere after work, and I mind you, the position I have requires me to wear a suit
and
like every day and a tie.
And we love it. And we love it.
It's cold, not when it's 115 fucking degrees outside.
But no one told you to work in hell.
I don't work in Oklahoma. If I gotta stop somewhere real quick, stop at the store, men have open doors for me.
Yep.
Because you're
a sir.
What
you're
the
sir.
fuck? I'm sir.
Okay, so you
are, sir. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right away, sir.
Obviously,
whatever you need, sir.
I'm an advocate for dressing the way you want to because I'm in, the whole personal.
She's in the fashion industry.
Yeah, fashion thing. But here's the thing, though. No matter what anybody says, psychologically, the 7-second rule applies. They're going to make up their mind about you in the first 7 seconds. Yep. Before you even speak, before you even drop your credit card, before you even show them the wad of cash, whether you have it or not, that 7 seconds is where their mind is made up.
And it's a completely different experience. It's a more enjoyable experience when I'm all prettified and I go out than it is when I'm just not looking, like even going into dealers and stuff. It's like, damn, I got the money to spend in here, but y'all ain't really like catering to a girl. Like
my favorite one. No, go ahead. My favorite one is when I'm dressed. I think I've told you guys before, my dark CJ, my gothy CJ, my punk CJ, and versus like CJ now, who's kind of more neutral. And the amount of white folks that talk to me when I'm neutral and the amount of white folks that don't talk to me when I have purple or black lipstick on is just amazing to me because like I'm going to the same places.
Right.
So the workers are the same. but the attitude that I get, the looks that I get is completely different. Or even my hair. Like we talked about this a million times. My hair being like this warrants different reactions than my hair being in a bun. Like it's completely
I will
different.
give Ohio men this shout out for some reason, baby. When I wear my fro, these white men love it.
That's because you're in Ohio.
These white men in Ohio love it.
You're in Ohio.
I'll never forget when I first started wearing my hair out, when I could figure out how to do it without stuff breaking off, because as soon as you move to a different environment, you're worried about your hair. And I'm like, my real hair better be able to take this. So I was like, I'll wear it. I said I was going to do good and wear it out for a week, girl, 2 days. And that was a wrap. But I go to Walmart and I had on like a cute outfit, but it wasn't like my number one stunner. And I'll never forget this white guy practically running into a door and was like, just loving the hair. And I was like, okay.
But that's what I mean,
I
though.
was like, but it was funny because he meant it. Like,
I know, really but see, here's the thing. It stings me both good and bad in situations like that, because I look back at what I understand and what I did. Like, I lived in Nebraska, right? Like, did I get that much play because I'm exotic in their books? That's what I mean.
What the hell?
Patrick. Is Patrick yelling again?
My son. I thought
somebody like got murdered in the other room. But you know what I'm saying? Like, am I getting these compliments because I don't look like all the other women in the neighborhood?
No, I get what you're saying. That's probably why I really couldn't fairly give like somebody who wasn't black like a full chance, but not somebody so much so that isn't black.
And I'm not saying anything about those people. They're not used to seeing us.
They're not, but I'd always be thinking in the back of my head, I don't want to be no chocolate lover fantasy for you. Like, this
but
ain't
is
that.
It though?
Right. I don't know.
But you can never tell.
Chocolate lover fantasy.
Look, the other, you know,
and
it's funny.
And there's your tidbit. There's your tidbit.
Chocolate lover. No, because the other night, my kiddo was like joking around because he was like, yeah,
the
and
chocolate lover fantasy
Dad
Negro
likes watching
nice
anime, and that's why he keeps getting with Asians or whatever.
Because he's in love with anime.
And I was like, well, maybe I keep getting with white guys because of all the boy bands that we got shoved down our throat.
Maybe because I was in love with every single one of them, so I ain't gonna lie.
We were like,
what broke me was getting older and realizing all the ones I had crushes on were not coming for us at all. Live your truth, babe.
I don't know how he deals with me talking shit like this all day long.
Because you're his half chocolate lover fantasy.
No,
yes, chocolate lover fantasy.
It's all the anime.
He was like, I'm finna get me one of them.
Remember taco kisses for my Ben type shit?
Oh my God.
But instead it's like chitlin flavored kisses would be fun.
No.
Sweet potato pie flavored kisses.
Collard greens.
I'll take some sweet potato
I will
pie.
take cornbread.
Cornbread, maybe.
Cornbread kisses. I'm with that.
I mean, just, you know, but it didn't cross my mind at the time because I wasn't as woke as I am now. But I mean, there are certain conversations that I look back on and think, man, it's fucking cringeworthy now. And I feel like I know and feel like they meant no harm, just like the guy you came across in the store.
Oh, yeah, he meant the compliment. But
yeah,
was just
they
like,
absolutely mean the compliment because I think we were rare in those areas and whatnot. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that means that our nation as a whole is definitely undereducated in that area, like in general. Like,
well, when you're not looked at as important enough to treat like a human being, what I look like understanding anything else about you. Like, we're still fighting for basic human rights in a lot of ways. So what I look like,
school, like that kid from Texas that couldn't walk the fucking stage because he had locks. And by the way, I learned this recently. I stopped calling dreadlocks because that dread part came from white folks. Did you know that?
CJ.
Fuck.
You know? How many times?
You know?
Well, no.
Did you know?
God,
so from what I understand, I stopped calling them dreadlocks because originally they're just called locks or hair. When they did that, they started calling them dreadlocks because non-POC people saw them and they thought they were dreadful. Literally, that's why they called them dreadlocks. So
I like that they kept the locks instead of just calling them dreads. Because I know a lot of black people just say dreads.
Right, but technically, like I really want our society to start calling them locks. Like me, I'm trying to make movements. I'm trying to make fetch happen, y'all.
Yeah, you're definitely trying to make fetch happen. One thing at a goddamn time, CJ. I like that for the ladies we have the goddess locks. So I think that's cute.
Goddess locks, French locks
like
is another one that they use. Like it's just so weird, like that we let that kind of stuff seep into our culture too and not know about it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know about it till recently. Like I was like 3 months ago, like something like that when I learned about it. Now I try not to call them dreadlocks anymore. Just God. And I was in the store yesterday too when I was at the grocery store. I saw this old white dude with like 6 feet of dreadlocks. I was like, that's dreadful. That right there.
Does that bother you guys at all?
Here's the thing.
With the hair? Yeah. I think we talked about this on the show before.
If you are trying to live that religion, because that's what it is, and you're trying to honor it the right way, it's a versus appropriation versus appreciation. Are you appreciating the things that come along with the hair that you do, or are you just doing it for looks? Are you just wearing cornrows because you think they're cool and you're calling them cornrows? Are you wearing boxer braids because Kim Kardashian did it? Like I think
it goes by individual, and I may initially, like within, like she said, 7-second rule, I may initially look like
I'm gonna judge you for the first 7 seconds. Yeah, for sure. I'll try to talk to you though.
But if I end up like knowing a person, and for some people it's just like, oh, okay, like this is just you. You're this kind of like, you know.
But does that become the whole slip that we were talking about earlier, that we let people like that slip into
for sure.
You know what I mean?
What about
very hard place?
That one substitute
we let everything
slide. That substitute teacher that we had back in Okie, he was a white guy and he had dreadlocks and he surfed all day when he was he
like a big thick guy?
He was like yoked. He had muscles.
Yeah, where was teachers like this when I was in school? What?
You don't remember him? He looked a lot like, who did he look like? He kind of looked like he could have been one of the Pope brothers.
Well, because I was graduated when you guys started freshman year.
You know one of the Pope brothers, right? One of the Popes.
He looked like
a Pope brother?
He looked like a Pope brother. Tall ass white dude, long ass dreads, and he would like surf and scuba dive and shit.
I'm sure he did.
If I see somebody like that with dreads, it fits that mold. So I wouldn't cross my mind like, oh, he's.
That's what I'm saying. Some people have like lifestyles where you're like this hippy dippy surfer.
Yeah,
I would not think twice. Because it'd be like, okay, you're off on Laguna Beach, and that's just how you live in a hut.
That's how you live.
But see, and that's what I mean by like the double-edged sword.
CJ said earlier, what I feel like we've done too much too often as a whole. I think, and this just goes to show you the hearts of us nakers.
Yeah.
We are. I love that.
We're so much more forgiving.
We are, because we know what it's like to be at the bottom of the barrel and to be hurt and judged and just looked at crazy just for being us. And we don't want anybody else to feel that way. So we've taken in other people all the time. And now we've kind of developed these, and I don't even want to say it was our generation, because these younger ones ain't playing. As soon as they don't like something, the internet is going.
Fuck this shit.
they not playing. And I get it now. Everybody's canceled, right? So I get it now, because it's like, well, yeah, here's what happens. You let somebody slide, they start being the ice skaters out here.
So do y'all think that slip is why we have that in our mind anyway? Like, oh, he's just that surfer dude with the dreads.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Because again, we're conditioned. This is what old boy was saying that started in you, because he's like, it's disturbing for him that people are calling Joe Bay, and they're like, oh, you know, this is attractive, or we like him, or we see where he's coming from, because he's like, we've been preconditioned to always empathize and bow down to white men, whether people want to realize it or not. We respect their authority more so, their word. We glamorize their serial killers, all this stuff.
Right.
Because they're at the top of the food chain. It's true.
I don't see no Netflix specials about black folks in slavery, do you?
No, so listen, so dig this, sis. So somebody like, you know, Kyle, let's just call him Kyle for the sake of names. Kyle can go off and wear his dreads and stuff, but then somebody like Young Jock can't press his hair without being dragged by our community first, and then whoever else feels like his hair shouldn't be that way.
That part.
The only nigga that got away with pressing his hair was Snoop.
Pretty much.
That was the old Snoop and Prince.
Snoop and Cat.
Prince and Cat. Yeah.
No, Prince can do what he wants.
Prince got.
He's not even the same. He's not even the same. He was wearing women's clothing. He's not even
his own human. He's like something else. He's Prince.
Prince wore women's clothes, women's shoes, and got women to bed. So you can't even. He's not even the same spectrum.
You can't put him in the same category. Because when you got somebody that I could literally say I would have slept with him and he would have been wearing my clothes.
With your clothes on, with your
clothes on, looking better in my clothes than me. And I'm gonna just lay down and shut up.
Had a better plus than me in his head. Just
it had to be witchcraft. Had to be witchcraft. There's no other explanation.
Because he knew about the world that we didn't know. Like, have you ever read or like listened to his shit,
or even seen his artwork?
Yo, you know what my favorite Prince song is?
What?
It's a song called "Starfish and Coffee."
Yes.
That is my favorite.
Go listen
Prince
to
song.
Starfish and Coffee.
Listen to Starfish and Coffee. The shit reminded me of a little bit of me when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's fucking weird because I was a little weird when I was a kid. I was out there. I was into weird shit, and the person he was talking about in that song was in a little weird shit too. So yeah, that's a good one though.
What's your favorite Prince song, CJ? There's so many, right?
I have to pick one.
I know there's so many.
have a playlist on my Spotify that I put all Prince albums on.
That's really cool. I didn't ask that though.
He's on Spotify.
I said.
Man, oh gosh.
Oh, I like Hot Thing.
If Heather's life depended on it.
If I had to, oh God.
You have to pick.
If I had to pick. Girl, there's so many. What's the one about the world?
Yes, D.
What's the title to the one where he talks about the world? Like burning.
A whole bunch of songs.
Oh. There's one specific one where he talks about the world going down in flames, basically.
Oh,
can't remember the title.
1999?
No, I know that one. Everybody knows that one.
1999.
Yeah, she would have got that one.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's kind of like his song that he made that was from his conspiracy theory. Of course, that's my favorite one.
It's called "Sign of the Times." Sign of the Times.
Is it?
That sounds like
I'm surprised you know that one, CJ. I thought you was lying for a minute. I was like, see, they don't know, Brent.
She just said she had a whole playlist.
Yeah, I was like, and she came to the
album.
Listen, when Prince passed away, do you know I was on my Spotify for like 3 weeks straight, just Prince songs, just
that shit fucked my mind up.
Crying inside. Hey, like Brandi say, push pin. By the way, when Prince passed away, the day before that, do you know there was like a possibility of a fake Prince person riding around in his bike in a parking lot?
Yeah, because I saw it because his show was out. I watched the whole thing on it. Like,
did you?
Around that time, but I've seen it.
But supposedly he was on a plane at the same time.
Yeah, no. Or it could have been. He could have been on some Naruto shit.
Or he could have been on some Michael Jackson shit.
No, what they're saying is the person who was in the parking lot was not him, and that he was already dead on a plane when that video was.
I heard Dick Gregory talking about something like that.
Oh, God. You guys know Dick Gregory? Hey, guys, if you're listening or watching, and if you don't know who Dick Gregory is, please go look him up because he spit in fire. He died already, but his shit is like on point. Also, did you know?
Yeah, the lean in or don't
Dick
count.
Gregory actually ran for presidency or governor. I think it was presidency, and he had enough votes at one point to win.
I think I found that out. I think I found that out around the time where I realized after everybody was hyping up Hillary Clinton, they forgot about Shirley Chisholm, and I was Chisholm. So she was technically first. So I was like, and I think that's when I figured that out about
Dick Gregory had enough votes to be the first actual 100% black president.
Could you imagine?
You know how different this world was, but they couldn't have that.
No,
and you know what's because I believe he started off as a comedian, did he not?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, and then he got into politics, and then I guess he got woke.
He was too smart. He
was too forward for his time. Can you imagine him being like Obama's age right now and running? He would get all my votes. I don't even vote, and I would go vote for him. I shit you not, huh? What? For what? It's all an illusion.
What do you?
Look at Brandi.
The noise he's making is just like.
It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. Yeah,
anyway,
we didn't even get to the other part we wanted to talk about.
No other reason.
We're gonna say that for next time.
We're gonna save this for next time. Maybe we'll save it for when we do the music episode.
Oh yeah, because I'm about to trip y'all the fuck out if y'all haven't already tripped yourselves out already.
Yeah, for real.
I think we've tripped off another stuff.
We did.
I will say this for you close out, because I'm not gonna tell you my favorite Prince song. I would like to hear a guess from each of you. I'll give you album. Well,
a guess.
Yeah, I'll give you a guess. I know my favorite album. Well,
you know how many albums?
Wait a minute. This should be easy though. If you know me, this is gonna be easy.
Oh, I hate it when people are like, if you know me,
the album's going to be easy because it's a no-brainer because Prince did it himself, like he does everything.
He did all those instruments.
Oh, he played every instrument?
And it had a theme, and it had a theme.
The double?
It was a theme. So I think you guys will get you'll get the album before you get the single.
It had a theme.
Had a theme?
Oh yeah, because
is it Raspberry Beret?
No, that's so funny. Because you know he did like to do. Here's a hint. Here's a hint for the people at home.
Wait, is it the Chocolate Invasion?
The album went along with a movie.
Purple Rain?
That would have been too easy.
I would have. That's why I was like, Purple. I avoided that.
I'm not that simple. I'm simple. I think we gonna get you.
Wait a minute.
I can't believe y'all gonna get this.
It was on the Purple Rain album? It was on the album?
The album he did was related to a movie, and the movie was huge.
Batman?
Purple Rain, right?
Of course. What else? Come on.
Batman.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm like, why did that take so long? Y'all know I'm a geek.
I'm sorry.
And that bat dance, and then when it transitioned, and then he's like, stop the presses. Who is that? And did that transition to the Vicky Vale?
Oh my God.
He did that goddamn whole album. Like whole album was bomb.
Isn't it crazy
that's not
that
my
he
favorite.
has...
That's not my favorite song.
What's your favorite song?
What is my favorite song, CJ?
Love Sexy album?
D has ooh. I think she got it. What you said my favorite song was?
Love Sexy? Is that it?
No, that was close.
This is close?
You can never take the place of your man?
No, but that's good.
No.
That's top 10.
Shit. I Want to Be Your Lover?
I love that one too.
It's so good.
I would put that one right.
Oh, Sexy Dancer.
Close. Like you're saying and you're not saying it. Like you literally said the word.
You said it's not Hot Thing, right? Hot Thing.
No.
No.
I love getting people to guess.
Can I get an album title at least?
Yeah. What album is it on?
Oh, Soft and Wet. Soft and Wet.
It's Soft and Wet?
It's Soft and Wet, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
The album. But I just love that you're saying that. Okay. So what was it? 90, it was early 90s. My Name is Prince.
Fuck.
Hold on. I'm gonna need some assistance.
I need some assistance.
Oh my God. I thought y'all was gonna do better. You literally said the word in this song title twice in wrong guesses.
Me?
CJ.
Really?
It's Sexy Motherfucker. Like, what the hell?
Oh.
Wow.
Shit. That's your favorite song?
So I'm just not sexy, huh? That's fine.
Soft and Wet.
No. I will say this with Prince. Initially, I got into him after hearing, like, of course, the singles, right? And my mom loved just overplaying. And like, this is how I knew it was time to clean. I would hear Anita Baker, Luther, and Prince. And as soon as I heard
Prince, Janet.
This is what I would hear, and I knew it was time to wake my ass up. Doom, 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 doom.
Oh, this will be the day when you hear me sing, and I will never run.
Diamonds and pearls. It's time for me to clean up.
Oh my God.
10 to the I to the 8.
I was like, I'm not really. I remember being like, I'm not really feeling this Prince guy. And then a girlfriend of mine's parents set us down and made us watch Purple Rain, and I love it because this was such an old school black lady move. She called after she went off on me for saying something crazy about Prince. She called my mom and said, hey, my daughters don't know Prince like that, and your daughter over here talking about she ain't feeling it. I'm gonna make them watch Purple Rain. Do I got permission? And she got permission right there, and we watched Purple Rain. And then we was like, wow, this nigga crazy. And then I heard Kiss. What got me about Kiss, and this when I was a Prince fan, is the hollering he did at the end of a damn single.
Girl.
This was a single for the radio, and you hollered in a falsetto at the end of the song. Baby, you bad. I am a fan. After that, I was sold. It didn't matter what.
Yo, did you guys hear how him and Michael Jackson was really beefing back in the day?
Yes.
Have you seen the videos?
Have you seen the interviews?
It's
Prince
great.
was too through. Prince was over Michael. Prince
you know how people always talk about, like, if there's one person you could pick to drink with that's passed on, my answer is always Prince. Always.
Bro, I'm going for sure with Whitney Houston. Because she was messy.
I bet you Whitney was
baby. But you know, normally that question, they give you 3 or 5 people to choose from. So if I could get Prince and Whitney
in the same room,
baby,
honey,
I don't need no drink. We're spilling tea. Please tell me everything. Because Whitney gonna tell you. Have you heard her go off on Wendy Williams and other interviewers?
God, it's the best.
She don't care.
She did not give a fuck who. She didn't care if it was Barbara Walters. She didn't care if it was Wendy Williams. She didn't care if it was Katie Couric.
She
did not care.
That would be my 3. It would be Bernie Mac, Whitney Houston.
Ooh, Bernie Mac.
Oh, that'd be some funny shit.
And I just want stories. I want all of the
You know what? For fucking sake of saying it, I don't know if he's still alive or dead, or if we gonna see an album for the 50th anniversary. But Pac is another one.
Okay.
Pac is another one. Just because I want to pick his brain, because he was so forward for his time when he said what he said. Have you guys seen the little short video that they made of Jada and Will and Pac in that threesome? Like,
maybe I have, because
Jada was dating Pac first, and they had like a connection like this. And
do you believe they just never? And I believe this, but I'm just asking if you guys believe that they never had sex. I believe they didn't.
Yeah.
I believe it when she said it.
I believe it.
No.
I did it before. I had a whole ex I never even.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I believe it. I can believe in having that much chemistry with someone and not sealing the deal. I can believe it.
You know what? Okay, let's put it this way. I can believe that they didn't go all the way, but
but they did something.
They did something.
Yeah.
So to me, when it's that intimate, like
D and I,
you guys got loud real fast. Like
that was that black, like
the hand job. Yeah, we do
the
that.
Negro gets loud. The Negro gets loud.
I mean, even if there wasn't like actual intercourse sex, but there was something there, obviously, for them to be connected like that.
Up and you did something. You did something.
And so, I mean, if it wasn't the case, then why would Will be so pressed when he was in his presence?
Oh, no. First of all, this is why I think Will was pressed. Because even if they never did anything, of course Will would be pressed.
Well,
because
Pac.
Jada, not just because it was Pac. Jada, have you seen some of those letters Pac wrote to Jada? Come on now.
Man.
Have you seen that? So the fact that there's a man in this world that sees your woman how you see her, probably sees her better than what you ever will. That you probably... will have a connection with her that the connection they had is something that you guys won't have. And it's not that what you have isn't great, because it is. You guys are iconic on your own, but clearly,
I did see all of that, because one of the little interviews that they were doing is Will talking about how Jada woke up 45 days straight crying every day. And he didn't understand, because he thought he gave her everything. And he was like, one day was like, I built this house for you. I built this life for you. And she was like, no, you built this house for you. Mm-hmm. It was for you. And then
I like that they shared that, because I would have never guessed Will's ego, even because that was for her 40th birthday too, because he threw her some big thing that she didn't even ask for. And she was like, that was all for your ego. It was not what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like would have ever, based off what she said, it doesn't seem like she had those problems with Pac. They clearly had other stuff going on, but it wasn't that stuff like that. And then when you can just be that much of a friend with somebody. That's threatening for a man because Will is the lover at that time. Right. You're the lover with means. You're not my friend. You're not my mate in that way. Right. So I kind of believe in soulmates not always being somebody you end up with, or even someone of the same sex, because I can feel like best friends can be soulmates. But I feel like
absolutely.
Pac was her soulmate, and Will knew that. But he was also man enough to be like, I'm still rocking with her and love her. And we're going to have what we have.
Because I think because his ego was so big, like you said, and he wanted like this.
And then why should he be? You're the Fresh Prince. Like his career's always been on, even with flop movies. But I could not imagine doing Men in Black and Bad Boys, and then now my woman is, what I mean? I couldn't imagine.
But she didn't want nothing. That's the thing.
Sure didn't.
She didn't want nothing.
She didn't want that stuff he was used to giving people. I would have took it though, Will.
I know you would have, baby. Sugar baby.
Listen.
For real though, because I think it's hard for people to understand that, like, sometimes you don't need all of the fucking bells and whistles that most people think you do. I think one of my favorite birthdays that I've ever had was just me and Rob going to a show. And none of his friends were there, none of my friends were there, and it was like one of the best times I've ever had. And like, you know what I mean?
You don't need all of that. I remember one of the best days I could ever remember is me. So it was this one girl that I met at this hostel I was staying at when I was traveling in Puerto Rico.
Every time anybody says hostel, I'm just like, murder.
I cringe. Yeah, I cringe. I'm like,
I know.
Love it. But it was the second time I went, and it was this girl that was from Boise, Idaho. And I was like getting my shit, and I was walking out. She's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Oh, I'm walking to Old San Juan." That's about a good 10-mile hike. But I was like, "Fuck it, I'm walking." Whoa. She was like, "I want to go." Oh. So she had some.
He froze. Hold on, D. You'll come back.
Stuff.
Wait. D, you're frozen. What happened?
Let it go.
Okay. She had some what now?
He's frozen.
She had some.
Go ahead.
Am I frozen still?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. She had some, I'd say some party favors with her, some green party favors.
Okay.
She's like, "Hey, I got some." And I was like, "Okay, let's go."
Well, that's a short walk.
So I was like, "How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna intake these party favors?" She's like, "Well, I got some banana leaves," and this old ass lady rolled it for us. And we're like, "Thanks. You want to hit it?" So she hit it, and we kept it pushing, and we walked all the way to Old San Juan. We walked past one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in San Juan.
Oh my God.
We met a Colombian tranny in the process.
Okay, makes sense.
She was walking. She was like, "Oh, make sure y'all look behind y'all when y'all walk, because these streets is rough and craziness." Then we came across the freaking protest. I guess it was some people protesting about cannabis in Puerto Rico, trying to legalize it. So they're outside like the Capitol building or some shit, like protesting. So we were there, and then we finished with them, and then we continued walking to El Moro, which is like a castle. And then we get there, and we sat down, and then we finished up. And then there were some guys sitting behind us. One had a guitar, the other one had some drums, like the
bongos. My God, what movie is this?
And they were like, right. And they were playing the fucking drum, or playing the drums and the guitar and singing. And we watched this fucking sunset, and we were just feeling ourselves.
Isn't that the best?
Taking in the green peas, the best. And then we went down by the Malecon, like the seawall area, and there was a cat, and the cat came and played with us. I don't know if we were just fucked up or somebody laced our shit, but it was a cat that came. It just walked up to us.
You know why the cat knew you were greened up? Because cats know spirits.
Yeah.
They knew you was greened up.
The cat was like, "I want to play."
Pretty much.
For like 10 minutes. I have pictures. I'm going to have to send you pictures of that cat.
Oh my God. Like, crazy. But seriously, like, don't let your ego get in the way of like having a good time.
Yeah. Enjoy a walk and have some green.
Or, just to play devil's advocate, ain't nothing wrong with some nice shit too.
Ain't nothing wrong with nice shit.
I've stayed at a nice place. I've stayed at a nice hotel, and then we just did simple shit. like went out and walked around and
I
explored a city, or, you know, because I like to have a mix of both. I can appreciate nice things. I like a nice aesthetic or whatever, or a nice dinner or what have you. But I'm also the person that will probably cry if you get me like a flower from the gas station and remember my favorite candy bar.
I think
it don't take much.
What it is with like big ass birthday bashes and things like that, I think what it is, unless you're Will Smith and Jada, you have to do it within your means, and that's where people fuck up. That's what it is.
Well, they do it, girl. They mess up that with weddings, let alone a birthday party.
Oh my God! When some of my friends' weddings, and when they told me how much their fucking wedding was, I was like,
when you look up just what they say the average wedding cost, I'm like, that's not even the average income. Like,
average weddings between 35 and 50K? Average.
That's crazy.
A motherfucker when I worked at Caesar's Palace, a motherfucker rented out the entire pool area. Mind you, our pool area at Caesar's Palace had 7 fucking pools in it.
Oh my God.
And they rented the whole area out, filled all the pools with balloons. I forgot what color they were, but they were all full of balloons. And they had a fucking tiger in there. A tiger.
Fucking
Tiger King.
Over.
Tiger King.
I think of The Hangover when I hear Tiger and Vegas, like
at Caesars, especially a tiger at Caesar's Palace.
But you know, like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and you know, I've been to some weddings like where they were like, "Oh, we spent like this many grand on it." I'm like, really? Because it's pretty normal.
Like you said, because you don't want to be in like hella debt after weddings.
Spend that on a honeymoon. I'd rather spend that on an
That's
experience.
what I said.
Spend on the trip and enjoy yourself.
And like,
again, if you can do both, because I won't shame you if you can spend 35,
I'm not
50.
shaming anybody. I'm just saying that
you do that
when you're not living within your means and you go past that, and then you're wondering why you're in debt the first year, 2 years of your marriage.
See, I look at it like this, CJ. If you spend 50 G's on your wedding and you're inviting me, you're doing that shit for me. Why the fuck would you spend $50,000 for me, you and all your fucking friends?
Especially when they tell you all you have to do is go to the wedding. It's like, so I don't pay for nothing? Like, I'll pay for all this? This is for the people.
And I get your ass a fucking NutriBullet and call it a day?
Right.
Nah. And you spend, now you're 50 G's in the hole?
No. I mean, even just
that
like
shit on your honeymoon.
On the lower end, the fact that it's 35K. Listen, when I went to one of the venues I went to, I like to laugh and play it off like, you know, all that good stuff. But when they said it was like 10K just for the food, and I was like, well, I'll be leaving now.
You know what I would have said?
What?
Hot pockets. That's what everybody's getting at this motherfucker. Because ain't no way I'm spending.
And I would have been behind D, like, try lean pockets too.
But I'm really good at playing it off. We learned a lot living in San Antonio. I don't know if D remembers.
You like that?
I couldn't.
D is dead.
Oh, he's done for today.
He forgot about them lean pockets, nigga.
They're not as good as the Hot Pockets.
They are so not as good.
No,
they're not as good.
Lean pockets is too lean.
The crust is all wrong on the lean pockets.
Yeah, the crust is fucked up.
The crust is so wrong.
Why is it chewy like that?
It's so
because
chewy.
they cut out the stuff that make it crispy. That's why it's lean.
This is why lean pockets didn't have a song like lean pockets. Don't even sound the same.
No, only hot.
It don't even sound the same.
I'm so done. God, I'm so tired of Hot Pockets. My ex and I used to drink and eat those in Okie in his little dorm room because that's all the shop it.
I haven't had one in so long.
You talking about Splash? The Splash. You used to say with the splash was a splash of white.
Oh my God, I totally forgot that.
Yeah, you like splash of white.
This?
Because your hand triggered that memory. It was splash of white.
Yes,
you remember too much.
He was Filipino with a splash of white.
A splash. You see the hand? She did it again. Splash of white.
It's a sprinkle, the salt-based sprinkle of white.
Oh my God, how do you even remember that? Jesus Christ. Remember when I was dating the other guy before him and he had to go TDY somewhere? And then when he came back, I was with Splash of White and I had to go to
yes. Yeah.
And they had moved dorms, so Splash of White and ex-boyfriend before that was in dorms next to each other. And I was like, I had to go take care of business. I left one to go to the other one to go really break up with him and then come back.
Go around the corner.
I sound horrible. Oh my God. I was 19. I was 19. I was not.
I met Splash of White at the Tiki. I was like, "Hey, CJ," you're like, "Shut up! You're so fucking immature." Mind you, she was 19.
I believe you. I believe you.
I was like 16. I was like, CJ, where you doing, CJ? Oh, is that the guy? Is that the guy? CJ, shut the fuck up. So goddamn immature.
Oh, CJ was just so over it.
Oh my god.
And now look at you, stuck.
Oh my, stuck. 20 years later, stuck, y'all. Watch out for people you hang out with. You never know. They might just stay in your life forever. Like
forever.
Forever. Anyway, we need to wrap this up. It's going on because we in quarantine and we bored and we got so much to talk about. If you have enjoyed us thus far, please make sure. See, there they go again. Make sure you subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. If you're watching us on YouTube,
in the house, bored, and I'm bored, and
I'm bored. You're so stupid.
Make sure you like and comment. Hit that notification bell.
Make sure
so
you
get all of our
abuse
episodes.
CJ in the comments. Feel free to make fun of her with us, not on your own. You have to use something we say. Because if you do it, we gonna get you.
We gonna beat your motherfucking ass. I'm gonna show
basically
you your house.
Oh, you ain't never seen
DeAndre.
Okay.
Nisha,
Devontae, Dakisha, Sharkeisha.
It's like having extra
and Leandria and Megan.
Megan, the Stallion.
The Stallion.
Oh my god. It's like extra siblings, y'all. Please.
Classic.
Jesus Christ.
That
I never asked for. But I mean, I'm used to it. There's like 10,000 of us. So anyway, drop on in every week on Thursdays at 12 Central for our Triangle episode. And if you're interested in our low brow news and current events, that drops Monday at 9 a.m. every week. I don't know. D is doing a knife dance, and oh my god, are you Lysoling your fucking self right now?
Mind your goddamn business.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I don't have props. I live a normal life, so
we live normal lives too.
D always has the weirdest shit.
Who wants to go fishing?
Why do you have a fishing rod? That's so random.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Bag and sag and berry. Bag and sag and berry.
Bag and sag. Come on. Bag and. You remember when Bag and Sag and Berry married Bag and Sag and Mary?
Yes.
Oh my god.
They actually invited me, but I couldn't make it.
Oh my god. Anyway, so on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have anything you want to say, drop us a comment, DM us on Instagram, do all the things. Oh, and our email is up and running. I know some of you guys came to our little virtual party, so make sure you hit us up. It's TH3, TRIANGL.com.
Because it's done.
So, Brandi, shut your face. All right, on that note, be blessed. See you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out.